One submersible, one destination, the Titanic ruin. 5 billionaires. A risky expedition to quench their curiosity 3,800 meters or 12,467 feet below the surface. Will people's fascination with the ship be unquenchable, even a century after the Titanic sank? Since the Titanic sank in April 1912, more than 100 years have elapsed. Its ruins are currently lying on the ocean floor around 400 miles, 643 kilometers, southeast of the coast of Newfoundland. In case you didn't know, there is such a thing as visiting the wreckage. For the chance to witness the Titanic underwater, several people paid money. But only a small number of individuals have really seen it because few have the resources, access to specialists, or courage to travel at the great danger to their safety. The Titanic's exact location wasn't discovered until a team led by French oceanographer Jean-Louis Michel and National Geographic explorer at large Robert Ballard in 1985. The location of the ship's last resting place was revealed by this find. Soon after, Ballard requested that the wreck be designated as a maritime memorial in front of the U.S. Congress to honor the more than 1,500 people who tragically lost their lives there. Ballard erected a commemorative plaque on the ship in July of the following year, 1986, asking that it not be harmed. Unfortunately, things turned out differently than Ballard had hoped. Instead of remembering those who had died, a strong rivalry developed over who would be allowed to take precious artifacts from the ship. As more people and groups competed for the right to rescue goods from the ruins, the competition heated up. The first formal attempt to salvage artifacts from the Titanic was made in 1987 by the Titanic Ventures Limited Partnership, TVLP, and l'Institut Français de Recherche pour l'exploitation de la mer. They were able to gather and preserve about 1,800 items. Later, in 1992, a federal court ruled that TVLP was the first and only organization authorized to recover Titanic-related materials. However, the business continued to look for new salvage chances during the ensuing decades. The business, which now goes by the name RMS Titanic Incorporated, has led a total of 8 missions to the Titanic wreck. They excavated the site and brought back several items throughout these missions. Over 5,000 of these things, including some of those that were later sold through auctions, jewelry, and even a portion of the ship's grand staircase were among the notable items up for auction. Since then, a wide range of people, including scholars, salvagers, and even renowned filmmakers like James Cameron, who directed the well-known 1997 motion picture Titanic, have visited the Titanic wreck. They have visited the location several times in an effort to study and discover more about the ancient wreckage. One of the first companies to sell tickets to the general public in 1998 was a British business called Deep Ocean Expeditions, which enabled people to see the Titanic's wreckage up close. These tickets cost $32,500 each person, which was a hefty sum. In 2012, the expedition's leader, Rob McCallum, made known that his business was preparing for a final round of trips to the wreck. They had made an astonishing 197 excursions down to the Titanic by that point. The final missions in 2012 carried 20 individuals on board and lasted 12 days each. However, the price per passenger was $59,000, which was much more expensive than previously. From 2002 on, a travel agency based in Los Angeles named Bluefish offered dives to investigate the Titanic debris. Only 8 persons could participate in each dive, which lasted for the next 4 years. Bluefish started taking reservations for Titanic dives again in 2012. The cost of each person's ticket for these dives was $59,680. Another organization, London-based Blue Marble, sold tickets in 2019 for a far higher price per person of $105,129. According to them, this sum represented the first-class ticket's adjusted worth at the time the Titanic sank. These cruises were planned by Blue Marble in collaboration with OceanGate Expeditions, the same business whose vessel recently vanished. In 2021 and 2022, OceanGate Expeditions successfully conducted exploratory missions to the Titanic wreck. Through 2023, they have 18 more dives planned. 5 people set out on this exploration together. Together, they readied themselves for the expedition in expectation of exploring the Titanic shipwreck 350 miles, 563 kilometers, off the coast of Newfoundland. First, there was the brilliant British businessman Stockton Rush. When he founded OceanGate in 2009, he began an unbelievable journey. Rush took over as the company's CEO and was tasked with the vital task of supervising the creation of cutting-edge submersibles that could reach astounding depths of up to 20,000 feet, 6,096 meters, below the ocean's surface. During his formative years, Stockton's interest in aviation was sparked, which eventually resulted in a great achievement in 1981. He made aviation history at the tender age of 19 by becoming the youngest jet transport-rated pilot ever. Stockton led OceanGate's objective as a pioneer with his broad range of expertise in engineering, business, and aviation. Paul Henry Nargeolet, sometimes referred to as Mr. Titanic, is an authority on the Titanic liner. He spent 22 years as a member of the French Navy, rising to the position of commander. He served at the French Institute for Research and Exploitation of the Sea, where he oversaw 2 deep-sea submersibles after leaving the Navy in 1986. He oversaw the initial dive to retrieve objects from the Titanic debris in 1987. He served as the E/M Group's Director of Underwater Research and as the Director of Underwater Research for RMS Titanic Incorporated, an organization dedicated to preserving the legacy of the Titanic. Paul performed 37 submersible dives to the Titanic shipwreck during the course of his career. Particularly seasoned adventure traveler Hamish Harding has taken part in a number of unique expeditions. Even last year, he took a Blue Origin rocket to orbit. He reached the Mariana Trench, which is 35,876 feet, 10,935 meters, below the ocean's surface 2 years ago, completing another astounding feat. They employed a submersible costing $48 million and were joined by American explorer Victor Vescovo for their voyage. They both received the Guinness World Record for the longest distance covered by a crewed vessel in the deepest region of the ocean as a result of their amazing accomplishment. As vice chairman of Engro, a key energy investment firm in Pakistan, Shahzada Dawood played a crucial role. He also had a position of authority within the investment and holding company Dawood Hercules Corp. Shahzada was skilled at managing the corporate environment across a variety of industries, such as textiles, fertilizers, foods, and energy, thanks to his competence in mergers and acquisitions. Shahzada committed a lot of his time and energy to participating in the boards of prestigious institutions. One famous organization was the SETI Institute, a charity devoted to conducting study and investigation into extraterrestrial life and backed by NASA. Shahzada also offered his support to Prince's Trust International, a charity founded by Prince Charles with the mission of empowering and giving young people the chance to realize their potential. The excursion was led by SULEMAN Dawood, Shahzada's 19-year-old son, and an aspiring college student. SULEMAN, a recent first-year business major at Glasgow's University of Strathclyde, demonstrated a strong desire to continue his study and build a solid foundation in the business world. The Polar Prince, a Titan support ship, arrived in St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada on Saturday, June 18. The flags of the Polar Prince were lowered midway as a mark of respect when it anchored. Another vessel pulling the Titan's launch platform arrived at the harbor. There were some crew members' relatives and members of the Titan support team on board the ship. With 5 people on board, the Titan submarine was getting ready for an expedition. Their objective was to investigate the Titanic, which is submerged 12,467 feet, 3,800 meters, beneath the surface of the ocean. Suleman was hesitant to travel with his father, Shahzada, prior to the adventure. He didn't think it was a good idea because he had an odd feeling about it. Although he didn't feel comfortable with the idea and didn't want to participate, he chose to go along because it was Father's Day and he wanted to spend time with his dad. The Titan was launched from a unique vessel known as an icebreaker at 6 in the morning. This vessel, which was formerly owned by the Canadian Coast Guard, was chartered by OceanGate. The Titan submarine and other passengers had been flown by the icebreaker to the vicinity of the sunken Titanic in the North Atlantic. The Titan's crew could survive on the oxygen aboard the ship for 96 hours. After 1 hour and 45 minutes underwater, the Titan submarine lost all communication. The Titan usually arrives at the Titanic wreckage in about 2 hours, but this time it was supposed to resurface at 3 p.m., but failed to do so. In the North Atlantic, 900 miles, 1,448 kilometers, east of Cape Cod, the submersible became lost. The depth of the water there is comparable to that of the Titanic crash. The Titan's support ship, the Polar Prince, discovered it was past time when it was unable to contact with the Titan anymore. They'd made the decision to start looking, but they were unable to locate the submersible. Authorities responded to their appeal for assistance by dispatching a search and rescue team. On Sunday, June 18th, the U.S. Coast Guard joined forces with deep-sea specialists from France, Canada, the UK, as well as private organizations, to look for the Titan submarine. An immediate multinational rescue effort resulted from this. Rescuers sent out boats, planes, and a variety of tools to the area where the submersible had vanished. The U.S. Navy reported hearing sounds indicative of an implosion on Wednesday. 2 times the size of Connecticut, the search region spanned a wide expanse spanning thousands of kilometers. The depth of the water in this location was about 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles. A remotely operated underwater vehicle, ROV, was launched by the Canadian ship Horizon Arctic early on Thursday and made it to the ocean floor. The area where the sounds were detected was the main focus of the ROV searches. Finally, the ROV discovered what the Coast Guard had previously thought to be a field of trash on the ocean floor. This field, which was roughly 1,600 feet, 487 meters, from the Titanic's disaster, contained visible components of the submersible. Unfortunately, all 5 passengers were pronounced dead after the wreckage was found. This terrible news was swiftly conveyed to the victims' relatives. Experts predict that it won't be possible to collect the deceased's remains. After discovering the submersible debris on Thursday, the search and rescue efforts were over. Deep-sea robots nevertheless kept prodding the ocean floor in an effort to learn more about the occurrence that took place in the North Atlantic's depths. A particular inquiry of the Polar Prince support vessel will be launched by the Transportation Safety Board of Canada. Investigations will even cover the Polar Prince, the Titan's mothership. The Titan submarine was lost as a result of its hull collapsing under the force of extremely high water pressure, according to U.S. Navy confirmation on June 22nd, after numerous days of searching. At the location of the Titanic wreck, the water pressure is approximately 400 atmospheres, 6,000 psi, which is equivalent to carrying 35 elephants on your shoulders. Experts are now trying to figure out what went wrong because the Titan's hull was meant to resist such strain. To learn more, they will examine the debris they discovered. The Titan was thought to be 11,482 feet, 3,500 meters, below the sea's surface when contact was lost. The water above the sub would have weighed tens of thousands of tons more than the Eiffel Tower at that depth. The vessel would have been squeezed or compressed if there had been a crack in the construction, since the pressure outside the hull would have been significantly higher than inside. A submarine shell collapses, sending it hurtling inward at an astounding rate of around 1,500 miles per hour, 2,414 kilometers per hour. That is equivalent to nearly 2,200 feet, 671 meters. every second. To put it into context, 1,000th of a second, or 1 millisecond, is all that the collapse process need to complete. Comparatively, the human brain reacts intuitively to a stimuli in about 25 milliseconds, whereas it is thought that a reasoned reaction, from detecting to acting, takes at most 150 milliseconds. There is a comparatively high quantity of hydrocarbon fumes in the air within a submarine. The air auto-ignites as the hull implodes, causing an explosion to follow the quick implosion. An investigation into the deadly submersible Titan's implosion has been launched by U.S. and Canadian authorities. Although an official investigation has not yet been started, maritime authorities are still conducting a search operation in the vicinity of the damaged vessel. According to legal experts cited by Reuters, releases signed by the deceased may not always offer complete protection. Judges have the authority to reject such waivers in situations involving flagrant negligence or hidden dangers. In July 2022, a CBS reporter who traveled with OceanGate Expeditions recounted signing a waiver that specifically emphasized the chance of death more than a dozen times on the first page. At this time, it is unclear whether OceanGate will be charged. This will be decided in due time. In 2018, David Lockridge, a former worker who had operated submersibles for OceanGate Expeditions, had worries about the sub's security during the Titanic trip. David sued the business and initiated legal proceedings. OceanGate fired Lockridge and then sued him for allegedly revealing proprietary information in an Occupational Safety and Health Administration whistleblower complaint, which complicated the matter. David voiced concern about the Titan submarine's capabilities in his court filing. He emphasized that despite the fact that no submersible with a similar carbon fiber shell had ever reached such depths, the company planned to take passengers as far as 13,123 feet, 4,000 meters. He allegedly found out that the vessel was built to only bear a certified pressure of 4,265 feet, 1,300 meters. The sub's capacity to guarantee passenger safety during dives to the specified depth of 13,123 feet, 4,000 meters, was questioned as a result of this difference. Not just David Lockridge had concerns regarding the security of OceanGate's submersible. Other influential figures in the sector spoke with OceanGate about their worries in the same year that he submitted his complaint. The president and CEO of Hydrospace Group, William Conan, was one of these people. William wrote a letter in 2018 that was first made public by the New York Times, outlining his concerns with the submersible. He emphasized that the absence of certification and experimental status of the submersible might potentially cause serious and catastrophic problems. Although he did not send the letter to OceanGate directly, William told CBS News that it was somehow leaked to the organization. OceanGate was forced by the letter to make revisions and publicly clarify some information, highlighting the fact that the submersible had not yet obtained its certification. The worries voiced by David and William, and others in the industry, emphasize how crucial it is to solve safety problems and make sure the submersible has the right certification before beginning any additional missions. People all throughout the world are in mourning over these men's premature deaths. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you liked what you saw, click the like and subscribe buttons and press the bell icon to be notified when we post another thrilling story.